Hey guys, my name is Moon and welcome back for more Umineko When They Cry. So last episode, we saw, I guess, the aftermath of Jessica and her school culture festival, right? And then we also saw Canon there talking about how he is furniture yet again. And then Beatrice mocking him afterwards. And then George and Shannon as well, they had a little scene at the ending where George told Shannon of his intent, right, on marrying her. So I guess now we are here. I guess with the other characters now, we're slowly inching in, right, to them going back to Rokinjima. So yeah, let's just start it. They had eaten breakfast at a coffee shop in the station building. So who are we with right now? By chance, the inside of the shop had been decorated with the Halloween colors since it was October. Maria and Rosa. Maria had seemed to be awfully pleased with that. For quite some time, she talked loudly inside the train about wanting to have a Halloween festival without caring that she was attracting the attention of others. Halloween is popular in Europe and America, but people aren't that familiar with it in Japan. I mean, I guess people in Japan don't do Halloween, right? Like you go and knock in people's doors. Probably not, right? Mostly in, this happens in just, American or Western countries, I suppose. The shopping district was colorfully decorated with orange pumpkins, but the costume parades of children demanding sweets and saying trick or treat were nowhere in sight. While it wasn't completely full inside the train, it was really packed, with almost all the seats occupied by the passengers. Maria was making a fuss among them, stomping her feet on the seat while Rosa scowled at her. Rosa had warned her many times to lower her voice, but Maria hadn't obeyed her at all. Once Maria got like this, no matter how much she tried to explain the situation or calm her, she wouldn't listen. Before, Rosa used to pamper Maria and give in to her at times like this. But that probably had been a mistake. Surely Maria had gained the mistaken impression that throwing a tantrum long enough would make her mother give up and do what Maria said. Rosa had realized that error with the help of an educational book, and since then she'd hardened the part of her heart that wanted to pamper her beloved daughter. So does it say in that educational book to slap your daughter? I mean, she's doing, yeah, we saw that, right, in episode 1. Her mutual understanding with Maria began to grow weaker and weaker, and she began to get discouraged by her own powerlessness more and more often. But yeah, I mean, you can see that when Maria acts, right, it can be too much sometimes, but yeah, as a parent, you gotta be very, very patient. But I guess for Rosa, yeah, it's only her basically, right? We don't know where the father is, so I guess everything is being thrown at her, and maybe that's why she gets extremely angry, right, at times. Like, look at this, she's getting angry already, right? A stout old woman who was sitting nearby as Maria stomped her feet picked a candy out of her handbag and held it out to Maria. Oh my gosh, she got angry even more now.
いいんですよ。元気なお嬢さんですこと。おいくつです？
Maybe there was no malice in the old woman's words. However, Rosa seemed to find that remark extremely humiliating.
マリア、知らない人からお菓子をもらっちゃいけないっていつも言ってるでしょ。
Yeah, Rosa didn't even acknowledge the old woman when she asked that question.
これはマリアがもらったの。やだ、マリアの。
You can literally hear her stomping whenever the voice line activates.
話しなさい。ママの言うことを聞けっていつも言ってるでしょ。マリアの。その言うのをやめなさいって言ってるでしょ。
Oh my god, we just started the episode. What is happening? Rosa reflexively hit Maria violently on her cheek. In a flash, Maria started crying loudly. Rosa immediately took the candy from Maria's hand and pushed it back towards the dumbfounded older woman sitting next to them.
うちの子に勝手にお菓子を与えないでください。
ごめんなさい。
Breathing heavily, Rosa once again held the candy out to the old woman. After getting flustered about what she should say for a few moments, perhaps the old woman realized that her actions may have troubled this parent and child, and she accepted the candy back, apologizing. Okay. After that, Rosa finally took notice of her surroundings. Her daughter's clothes were all messed up. She was crying and shouting with her nose dripping. And there was many dumbfounded passengers watching them. Except for the sound of the train running, the interior was completely silent. Fortunately, the pitiful silence didn't last more than a short while. However, it was followed by an even more painful atmosphere as everyone began to whisper. Maria shouted, cried, kicked, and stomped her feet as usual, paying no heed to the people sitting around her. Impulsively, Rosa tried to slap her again. But she noticed the cold eyes of the people in the train and couldn't. When the train stopped, Rosa forcibly pulled Maria's arm and got off, almost dragging her daughter along. Maria didn't stop crying. Rosa took her to the end of the platform and hit her cheek again. At the moment she was hit, Maria stopped crying for an instant, but before long, she shouted and cried even more than before. Overwhelmed with emotion, Rosa grabbed the nape of Maria's neck and dragged her, tugging at her hair. Oh my god, this is in public, by the way. She's doing this. With those severe words, Rosa hit Maria's cheek over and over again. The more Maria cried and shouted, the more Rosa hit her. And the more Maria was hit, the more intensely she cried and shouted.
あんたがそんなんだから友達ができないのよ。あんたがそんなんだからパパの出張が終わらないのよ。
This is why Papa's business trip never ends.
あんたがそんなんだから私が。
お客さんいかがされましたか？
何かご用ですか？
The one who timidly called her was the station attendant. Rosa glared at the attendant with a look that said, "Don't butt into the problems of a mother and a child, stranger." I mean, people would butt in. The way you're doing things, right? You're being very violent here and shouting. Of course, the attendant surely hadn't wanted to get involved either. But yeah, I guess, yeah, no one would really, right? But this is getting out of hand, and it is getting too much. However, Rosa had been yelling on the platform for much longer than she had imagined. Her emotional scolding had led the passengers on the platform to advise the attendant to call out to her. Rosa yelled at the attendant, saying not to worry anymore since they'd be getting on the next train. And then finally, or rather for the second time, she noticed the passengers on the platform staring at her from a distance. Rosa sweat slightly and felt a breeze make her sweat go cold, tormenting her. Maria still kept on crying, shielding her own head. Of course, if this beating continued, she'd probably keep crying indefinitely. I did it again. As the terrible heat in Rosa's head faded, she knew she had surrendered her soul to evil again. Rosa fell to her knees and hugged Maria, whose face was all soggy with tears and mucus.
Maria, ごめんなさい。ごめんなさい。
What do they call this again? Was it bipolar? But yeah, it's like instant, right? Instant change. Like earlier she was okay and then it escalated. And she was very angry and then now she's back to, yeah, normal again, right? I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Mama.
Finally, Maria realized that her mother was her mother again. Dude, honestly, this scene, man, oh my god. She clung to her mother's body and cried, burying her face in her mother's chest.
悪いママを許して。悪いママを許して。本当にごめんなさい。ママをどうか嫌いにならないで。マリアは全然平気。ママを嫌いになんかならない。ママはまた悪い魔女に乗り移られていただけ。でもママが帰ってきたから平気。悪い魔女にママはまた乗り移られていたの。ごめんね。本当にごめんね。
For a long time, the two of them hugged each other, asking for and sharing words of forgiveness. After a while, they calmed down and moved back at the same time. Maria's face and Rosa's face were both deep red after crying their eyes out.
マリアはハロウィンのお祭りがしたいの？おう。ジョージお兄ちゃんやジェシカお姉ちゃんにカボチャマシュマロを見せてあげたかった。
It was a candy they'd been selling near the cash register at the shop where they eaten breakfast. A fancy sweet that had a big orange marshmallow in the shape of a jack-o'-lantern attached to the tip of the stick. Maria had wanted it and had insistently pestered Rosa for it. Rosa had refused, saying that there was no way she could buy sweets right after breakfast.
じゃあマリア、この町に売っているかどうかわからないけど、降りて探してみようか。お、ママ大好き、愛してる。ありがとう。私もよ、マリア。
The truth was that they didn't have the time to waste loitering around at a stopover station. If they missed the airplane, they'd fall half a day behind schedule. She should have left home with more time to spare, but she ended up leaving late after choosing Maria's clothes. Because of that, Rosa had been a bit impatient this morning. She looked at the clock. They had to get on the next train immediately. But her daughters firmly joined hands with her to go buy the sweet with her mother, and that hand was warm. To Rosa as she was now, it was more important to renew her bond with Maria. To her, Maria was not only a beloved daughter, she was everything Rosa had. Fortunately, they could see a big supermarket right in front of the station. They might not be able to find exactly the same sweet, but Maria would probably be happy with a similar one. Besides, Rosa couldn't show up with a face swelled from crying. She must fix her makeup.
あれと全く同じマシュマロは見つからないかもしれないけど、似たようなお菓子があるといいね。それで、いとこのみんなを一緒に驚かそうね。ママと一緒に買うお菓子なら何でもいい。
They exited through the turnstiles of the station in this unknown town. Maria walked across the pedestrian crossing together with her mom, chuckling to herself as though she was walking in an amusement park. Both faces were a steel deep red. But the two of them, mother and child, smiled warmly at each other without any restraint. Okay, where are we now? But yeah, honestly though, the scene was extremely unsettling.
あなた。
We just started and yeah, that was the first scene we got. No happy scenes or whatnot, just Maria and Rosa together. Oh my god. Okay, Natsuhi right here.
こんなところでどうされたのですか？
君か。なんでもない。考え事をするのにここが少し心地よかっただけだ。
今日の準備はすべて手配が終わっています。あとはお茶でも飲みながらくつろいで待とうではありませんか。
すまん。君にいつも面倒なことをすべて押し付けている。
どうか私をもっと頼ってはいただけませんか。私はあなたの妻です。
無論君にはいつも助けられているし、感謝もしている。だからこそ、私は私の仕事に専念できる。
分かっています。お仕事のこと。そして、お父様の遺産の話ですね。
君には関係のないことだ。
I guess that's why, yeah, Krause is, I mean, when we see this scene, right, he's very restless, I guess, right? It's because of the inheritance. He knows he's gonna talk about that with his siblings, basically, right? That's why he couldn't relax.
欲深な兄弟たちの腐肉の漁り合いに過ぎん。
大丈夫です、あなた。
Oh, she's getting closer to him.
すべてうまくいきます。
We're seeing them become intimate.
あなたのお仕事がうまくいかなかったことはありません。
Natsui softly cuddled close across his shoulder. She complimented Kraus on his hard work, but Natsu knew better than anyone that his work wasn't going well. Kraus's project was something like a seesaw where a large amount of money swings. Big investments can lead to massive payoffs, but yeah, if it fails, you're screwed. But like a large seesaw, they tend to shake a lot while moving very slowly instead of showing immediate results. At times, it's possible to make further investments so that the seesaw inclines faster towards the side you want. Of course, you'd only do that if you were confident you'd be able to recover all your investments in the not-so-distant future. However, the seesaw Kraus chose never turned out as he would have liked them to. His foresight wasn't wrong, but the times were moving sluggishly. They never managed to catch up with him. For example, think of a literal seesaw placed in a park. It's really a popular item, so there's always someone playing on it, and you got to wait a long time for your turn. Let's say that one day you spotted one of those seesaws that was completely unused and you raced to grab it first and have it all to yourself. However, unless someone got on the opposite side of the seesaw, you wouldn't be able to play on it. What if lots of time have passed and nobody came to the opposite end? Seesaws are popular, so if you wait long enough, a companion will surely show up. But Kraus noticed something. The weather is getting worse, so nobody is coming outside to play. But seesaws are popular, so someone will surely come eventually. If he vacated this place because of the worsening weather, it would certainly be snatched away. And once again, he'd end up longingly gazing from a distance at someone else having fun on the seesaw. On one side of the seesaw, he continued to wait patiently, all alone. That was the Kraus's project and his current situation.
私にもう少しの勇気と自分の先見性を信じる自信があれば、いつだって失敗はしなかった。
ええ、そうです。
そうです。
あなたの先見性はいつも間違っていません。あなただけがお父様の才覚を受け継いだのです。他の兄弟たちが誰も受け継がなかった天性のものを受け継がれた。
なのに私はそれを信じられず、いつも臆病に自らの事業を畳んできた。なぜ自分を信じることができないのか。自分を信じられない男を誰が信じる。誰も信じない。私はいつも敗者の座るべき椅子に自ら座り、親父にもおふくろにも兄弟たちにも笑われる。私はいつになったらこのコンプレックスから解放されるのだ。いつになったら。
Natsuhi was the only one who knew. Only she knew of Kraus's anguish. As the eldest son of the Ushiromiya family, who would soon be forced to bear an immense responsibility, he couldn't open his pained heart to anyone, and was always getting compared to his father's great enterprises.
あなたが親族会議に専念できるよう、すべての手配を済ませています。すべて。
すまん。親父殿の件は問題ないかね。
はい。源氏と南條先生は私たちの味方です。
Wait, what is it? Dealing with father? What?
あの強欲な兄弟たちを決してお父様には合わせません。
Oh, okay. So they don't want anybody to speak with Kinzo directly. I see.
もしもし。はい、ゴーダです。
Hello, Goda here. This dude, man.
ねえ、お任せください。
He's I guess he's practicing, right? Because when people come, he was the one who what do you call this? When they arrive, right? He was the one there. So he's practicing right now.
年に一度の大仕事に腕が鳴っております。
In the kitchen, multicolored ingredients were gathered and the preliminary arrangement were promptly being started. Even though it was still morning, the ingredients for dinner were already in saucepans and steaming. Normally, he had to deal with several assorted matters, but on the day of the family conference, he could devote himself entirely to cooking. To Goda, who was originally a chef, this was surely the greatest gala occasion of the whole year.
ええ、ディナーには子牛のステーキを。素晴らしい肉がすでに保冷庫で今夜を待ちわびておりますよ。まかないも今夜はぜひ期待してください。
It was rare for okay, sorry. It was rare for Goda to be in this good of a mood towards his fellow servants. Goda bragged about being the Ushiromiya family personal chef, and knowing he was considered worthy to display his excellent cooking at the family conference was his greatest honor.
わかった。任せるのでよろしく頼む。あと、熊沢がそちらにいないか。
熊沢さんですか。先ほど見かけましたが、こちらにはおりません。
Okay, so he was not. I thought he was practicing. He was talking to what call it, to Genji using a radio. That's why I say, hey, Goda here. He said something like that earlier, right?
ゲストハウスの方へ準備に行かれたのではないでしょうか。
また油を売っているのか。いや、結構だ。では引き続きよろしく頼む。
ええ、万事このゴーダにお任せを。
Genji placed the telephone back on the receiver, sighing lightly. Genji sighed once again and thinking of Kumasawa, who was probably hiding again, even though the things were busy. And the ostentatious Goda, who only felt like doing anything on a day when he could show off.
失礼します。ゲストハウスの各お部屋の準備が整いました。
お嬢様より、お子様方が泊まれるよう、4人分の用意をするようにとのご指示を賜りましたが、いかが。
今年は6年ぶりにバトラ様がお見えになるそうだ。お嬢様もいとこ4人で夜更かしをされたいのだろう。準備するように。奥様にはお伝えしなくてよい。
そうですね。かしこまりました。
今夜は深夜勤で、そのまま明日は早朝勤か。しんどい2日間になりそうだな。
そういえば、台風が直撃するって天気予報で言っていますね。大丈夫でしょうか。
台風がよほどそれない限り、場合によっては親族の皆様方のお帰りの船に響くだろう。親族会議の日程が月曜か火曜あたりまで長引くかもしれない。長丁場になるだろうが、皆くれぐれも粗相のないように頼む。シャノンは焦らぬよう落ち着いて、カノンは愛想よくご挨拶をするように。
はい。注意します。
注意します。
大切なお客様がお越しになられる日だ。くれぐれも粗相がないように。
心得ています。いつだってここには大切なお客様しか訪れませんから。
カノン、今日は本当の意味で大切なお客様を迎える。
Wait, what? We will be receiving a very important guest today.
心構えを改めるように。
Is there other people that's gonna come, or just one person? Except, yeah, the Ushiromiya family members. Is there gonna be more this time?
シャノン、どうした？さっきから何かそわそわしているようだが、何か時間の約束でもあるのか？
Yeah, Shannon looks like she's very, very happy. She's thinking about what George said, right? Yeah, that's what she's thinking here.
いえ、なんでもありません。失礼いたしました。
姉さん、今日は大切なお客様がお越しになる日なんだよ。プライベートとは切り離すようにね。
プライベートなんか知りません。
As Shannon blushed just a bit, she turned her gaze away from the clock. Was it about time for the airplane carrying the family to arrive at Nijima? She'd tried to hide the fact that her upcoming long-awaited reunion with George was making her heart race, but Cannon, who stood beside her, seemed to see right through her. But couldn't she contact George though? I mean, I guess it's 1986. Yeah, I mean, I guess it's much more harder. Mail, right? Or maybe use the phone, right? But maybe if you use the phone, it's very, very far away though, right?
シャノン、これを黙って受け取ってくれ。
What is he doing? Is he practicing? Okay. Inside a bathroom stall, George was practicing something over and over, taking out a small velvet box hidden in his pocket like a quick-draw desert gunman.
違うな。シャノンは牽引力のある男性が好きなんだ。もっと馬力がある感じじゃないとダメだ。シャノン、これを薬指につけるんだ。命令だよ。
Okay.
ああ、左手とちゃんと言わないと右手にされちゃうかもしれない。いや、シャノンもそこまでかまととじゃないけど。ああ、でも少しは自由意志がないとなんだかその。
As he crossed his arms, muttering, someone knocked on the door. I mean, it was way too loud though, right? Yeah, people would be hearing. George was snapped back to reality.
Oh, George君.
Oh, Rudolph. Did Rudolph hear all of that?
大丈夫か？腹の調子でも悪いのか？
ルドルフおじさん。
I mean, Rudolph has always had that look like he is the uncle. You talk, what do you call this? Talk to, you talk with him with, maybe yeah, this kind of stuff, right? Okay, let's see. Let's continue first. Let's see what Rudolph says.
大丈夫です。平気です。ご心配は無用です。
そっか。ならいいんだけどな。無理して力みすぎるなよ。
That's good, but you know you're straining way too much.
尻が切れちまうぜ。
Your asshole burst. Rudolph washed his hands, laughing cheerfully as he left. George, realizing that the most embarrassing part hadn't been overheard, relaxed and felt extremely relieved. Okay.
キリエ、ローザはまだ来ないのか？
But honestly, I like Rudolph though. I mean, the way he talks and the way they introduce him in the first episode, right? I like how I like his personality. But yeah, he is very shady though, right? I mean, they did mention it here. Where is it? Kyrie and him? That's why I want to know more of them. It's here, right? Yeah, served as Rudolph's right-hand man in several shady pieces of businesses. See, both of them are shady. I like his personality, but yeah, he's a very shady character here. I want to know more. Yes.
まだよ。遅いわね。
天候調整中だからいいようなものを。これで普段通りのダイヤだったらあいつ乗り遅れちまうぜ。そしたらどうする気なんだあいつ。
ローザさんだっていい年の大人よ。なんとかするわ。兄って人はいくつになっても妹を子供扱いなのね。
親父だっていくつになっても子供だけどな。
だと？俺が子供ならおめえは赤ん坊じゃねえか。ほれほれ、バトラちゃん、高い高い。
やめろ、くすぐって。やめ。
親子ってより悪ガキ仲間って感じね。
But yeah, Rudolph gives me like Yakuza vibes. Yeah, he's kind of like a Yakuza, right? Kind of gives me something like that.
ほら、いらしたわよ。
Or is he? But I actually don't remember what they talk about when they were talking about the businesses, right? The inheritance in episode 1. I kind of forgot, but yeah, he gives me that vibe.
Ooh!
Uncle Hideyoshi is back.
ローザさんやないか。マリアちゃん、久しぶりやの。
久しぶり。
This is the good uncle, Uncle Hideyoshi.
マリア、お久しぶりです。でしょ？言ってごらん。お久しぶりです。
そうや。よく言えたな。ご褒美に飴玉あげような。あれ？どこにしまったんや。
ローザさん、お久しぶりです。マリアちゃんもお久しぶり。
ご無沙汰してます、キリエ姉さん、秀吉兄さん。あら、バトラ君？大きくなったわね。
いやー今日は会うたびに言われてて恥ずかしいっすよ。
おう、ローザ。遅かったな。飛行機がダイヤ通りだったらギリギリってとこだったぜ。
ごめんなさい。列車の接続がうまくいかなくて。何？また天候調査中なの？
ぼやかないぼやかない。船で6時間も揺られるくらいなら飛行機でほんの30分の方がずっとマシよ。たとえ1時間余計に待たされたって全然早いんだから。
あれがマリアなのか？大きくなったな。成長期か？
前に会ったのは6年前？それは変わるわよ。女は心変わりがあればたった1日でも生まれ変わる生き物よ。
Mari, noticing a big man she didn't recognize mixed in among the relatives, hid behind Rosa's back and glared at Butler.
おいバトラ、挨拶しろい。前にやったのが3歳の時じゃ、初対面も同じだぞ。
3歳じゃ覚えてねえよな。よっ、マリア、久しぶり。大きくなったな。
マリア、バトラお兄ちゃんよ。ルドルフおじさんの息子さん。わかる？おじさんの息子さんがおじさんが息子さん。
And now she's gonna cry again. She was obviously on her guard. After all, it was hardly surprising that she'd be scared if a large guy like Butler suddenly started speaking frankly to her. Butler noticed that as well and thought of various ways he might approach her. Then he spotted the candy she had in her hand. It was the jack-o'-lantern sweet Rosa had bought for her.
そっか、10月だからハロウィンか。お菓子をくれなきゃいたずらしちゃうぞ。
Normally, thinking trying to snatch a sweet away from a small child will result in them crying and screaming. The adults seemed dubious about Butler's tactics, but Amaria looked unexpectedly pleased, her face splitting into a wide grin.
Halloween! Halloween! バトラお兄ちゃんと呼びなさい。ごめんね、バトラ君。
いやいや、気にしないっすよ。俺はバトラと呼んでくれ。俺もマリアって呼ぶからな。ほらマリア、ハロウィンだぞ。お菓子をくれなきゃいたずらしちゃうぞ。お菓子をくれなきゃいたずらしちゃうぞ。
From inside her purse, Maria picked out a jack-o'-lantern sweet similar to the one she had in her hand and presented it to Butler. When Butler accepted it, that seemed enough to confirm their friendship. The adults are amazed at how good children can be at getting along with each other. Yeah, very, very simple, right? Maria had been throwing a tantrum because she wanted a Halloween festival. So Butler, who knew about trick-or-treating, must have felt like an ally. Her defensive posture from before was completely gone. Now she was all cheery as though they'd been friends for decades. But honestly though, when you look at it, I think Butler would be, yeah, the perfect, let's say, brother to someone like Maria, right? If all the things, I guess that's gonna be happening, didn't happen. Yeah, because Butler can, what do you call this? He can, I don't know the word. But yeah, like Maria is very playful, right? When she talks like this, Halloween, Halloween. And then Butler, he can be like that as well, right? Like for George is good with children, but he's a little bit different, right? While for Butler, he can be playful with the child, right? He could play jokes in them, all that kind of stuff.
そうだな。日本じゃハロウィンってマイナーなイベントだよな。仮装行列で練り歩くなんて向こうのニュースではよく見るけど、日本じゃ見たことないぜ。
マリアも仮装したかった。仮装していとこみんなでお菓子をくれなきゃいたずらしちゃうぞってやりたかった。
そっかそっか。今度俺と一緒にやろうな。
Yeah, like look at this, see? He's saying to Maria, I see, and next time let's do it together. He knows what to say, I mean.
マリアだったら何の仮装をして練り歩きたい？
魔女！ベアトリーチェ！
And then it's silent again. Is that it? What? She said Beatrice, and then... Okay. We're back, I guess.
おや、お嬢様、こんなところに。
But yeah, without all the events, right, that's gonna happen, Butler and Maria, dude, they can really be good siblings. You can say siblings, right? I mean, yeah, they're cousins, but yeah. See, Maria. But yeah, when we see the things happening, like in the first episode, right, it just becomes creepy, and yeah, all of that is gone.
奥様が探しておいででしたよ。
探されたくねえからこんなところにいるんだぜ。どうせみなりは大丈夫かとか、言葉遣いをちゃんとするようにとか、お小言が言いたいだけに違いないぜ。
違いありません。
私はさ、なぜか親族会議の日になるとこの魔女様が気になるんだよ。
ほう、それはまたどうしてでございましょう。
親族会議ってのはじい様に連なる全ての一族老頭が集まる日だ。今年は6年ぶりにバトラも来るそうじゃねえか。
Butler。
そんな感じでさ、何十年かぶりに今までずっと姿を現さなかった親族がひょっこりと現れるんじゃないかっていつも思ってるんだよ。
So you're telling me Beatrice is actually gonna show herself, like literally? So everyone, is that it? I mean, yeah, Genji said we're gonna have an important guest, right? So is that Beatrice? Hey, that would be really interesting. She's not gonna show up to each of them, right? She's gonna show up to everyone. Okay. Yeah, that's gonna be very nice. Yeah, I can't wait for that scene.
そんな親族がおりますでしょうか。
ベアトリーチェ様だよ。素性は誰も知らない。あるいは大昔のじい様の愛人なのか。その子孫がひょっこりと現れて、授けた黄金を返せなんて言い出すかもしれないぜ。
クラウス様たちは親方様の遺産問題で今年も議論されるでしょうから。こうも魔女の黄金の話で盛り上がっては、黄金を与えた魔女本人がそろそろおいでになってもおかしくありませんね。
熊沢さんはさ、辞めたり勤めたりと忙しいけど、源氏さん並みに昔からここに出入りしてるわけでしょ。ベアトリーチェのこともっと知ってるんじゃないの？
さてどうでしょうね。思い出そうにもこの老いぼれ、今朝の朝食すらも思い出せませんので。
熊沢さんはいっつもそういう言い方で逃げるけど、何か知ってそうなんだよな。知ってて物陰で笑ってるみたいな陰湿な雰囲気が時々するぜ。
これは手厳しい。隠し事など何もしておりません。私から申し上げられることは、ベアトリーチェ様は黄金の魔女であられて、この島の夜を支配されているもう一人の主人であられるということだけでございます。
じい様の受け売りかよ。給料もらってるとはいえ、じい様の妄言に付き合うのも大変だな。
ただこれだけは申し上げられます。
何？
六軒島は太古の昔、小豆島と呼ばれて恐れられてきました。
Also, it's called a different one. Azukijima, Azuki Bean Island. Okay. Why?
小豆は悪食がなまったものと言われ、本当は悪食島と呼ばれていたのだと、漁民たちの間では伝えられておりました。
Evil Appetite Island. Okay, I'm gonna guess here. It means Evil Appetite Island because when people go there, they don't return anymore. Is that it? The island is eating them. Is that it?
前にも聞いたよ。この辺は暗礁が多くて海難事故が多かったから、領民たちが恐れてむやみに近づかなかったって話だろ。
Okay, so a lot of shipwrecks. So basically, yeah, maybe a lot of people may be dying, right?
悪食島には悪霊が住み着いていて、太古の昔から人々の魂を喰らい続けてきました。この島に関わり命を奪われた人間はあまりにも多いのです。
それを旅の修験者だかなんだかが例の社を作って鎮魂したんで収まったってんじゃなかったっけ？うさんくせえ話だぜ。
その鎮魂の社はこの夏、暗き闇を引き裂く紫色の不気味な雷で打ち砕かれたとか。
熊沢さんその話好きだな。確かに鎮魂の社が落雷でなくなっちまうなんて不気味だが、まあもともとオンボロだったしな。ちょっと高い波にでもさらわれたんじゃねえのかな。
眠りから目覚めた悪食島の悪霊がベアトリーチェ様を呼び寄せたのです。もしベアトリーチェ様が親族会議に訪れられるようなことがあったなら、
あったなら
Kumasawa fell silent for a moment. Jessica was pressing her to keep going, so that gap felt strange and eerie. When Kumasawa noticed that she had Jessica, plenty scared with her silence, she grinned broadly.
はてさて、どんなことになるやら。
Honestly, I think Kumasawa knows a lot of secrets on this island, right?
へえ、そいつは素敵じゃないかよ。
A lot of them.
でしょ？たまには優雅な時間を得て、あなたの心を豊かにするのも、あなたの仕事に役に立つんじゃないかしら。
だな。心と財布は豊かじゃなきゃいけねえ。
What is this?
わかったよ。その日は開けておくことにする。予約を頼むぜ。
わかったわ。絶対よ。
ああ、よろしく頼む。愛してるぜ、キリエ。
Ooh. After kissing the receiver. He actually kissed it. Yeah, I actually heard a smack there of the lips, right? He actually did that. After kissing the receiver, Rudolph hung up. Before his seat, there were several executives with their sleeves rolled up, eagerly awaiting the end of the phone call.
すまん、待たせたぜ。アメリカから連絡は来たか？
はい。外線にデイル渡辺弁護士からです。
Dale. I like how Japanese does this. Like in Death Note, there were a lot of Japanese names mixed in with English as well. Dale Watanabe. Okay.
おつなぎします。
結局のところ、感触はどうなんだ？
それがその、一つ芳しくないようでして。
But yeah, he did have problems though, right? Yeah, I remember they mentioned this in the first episode. That's why he needed a lot of money, right? Because of his problems in the States.
先方は裁判をも辞さないつもりのようです。
やっぱりごまかしきれねえかな。つないでくれ。
わかりました。すぐに。
The executive ordered that the external line be transferred to the secretarial office. At once, the phone in front of Rudolph rang.
もしもし。ハローハロー。お待たせしました。後宮です。どうもどうも。いかがですかそちらは。
Hello, President 後宮。挨拶は抜きで本題に入りましょう。
Okay.
いいニュースと悪いニュースがありますが、どちらを先にしますか？
But I thought the guy would speak in English though.
悪いニュースが先がいいな。デザートがないと頑張れないたちなんだ。
わかりました。
Okay, bad news.
悪いニュースは先方が当方を告発する準備に入ったということです。つい先日、類似した裁判で原告が圧勝する判決が出されました。被告側も当方が主張するのとほぼ同じ内容で論戦していたのですが、全てにおいて却下されました。残念ながらこのまま法廷に臨めば当方の主張はことごとく却下される可能性が極めて高いでしょ
う。例の裁判全滅だったか。うちより有利な条件だったと思ってたんだが、そりゃ辛いな。で、いいニュースは？
先方の幹部と接触できました。先方に当方の立ち位置を説明し、先方のブランドイメージを侵害する意図がないことを説明し、理解を得ることができました。先方は近日中に条件提示を行い、それらの履行が行われるなら告発を見送ると約束しました。取締役会のナンバー2による発言です。
感触は？
正直非常に厳しいものになると予想されます。当方の想定では避けられないものとして、社名変更、ブランド名変更、交渉の余地のあるものとして和解金額、大手新聞への謝罪広告掲載、 それらの履行期間と見ています。
うちに潰れろと一言言やいいのに、周りくどい奴らだぜ。
先方は近年2代目社長に交代したばかりで、まだ足固めが終わっていません。当方が徹底抗戦した場合、現社長に失点を与えたい勢力が何らかの利的工作をしかねないと懸念しています。そのため先方トップも本件を速やかに解決したいという思惑があるようです。そのため迅速な和解のために多少の条件緩和を引き出せる余地も残っているかもしれません。
いずれにせよ、とんでもねえ金が必要になるか。
その覚悟は必要です。そしてそれでも懲罰的賠償金よりははるかに安いかと。
ありがとう先生。また進展があったら連絡してください。先生は高級鳥だからヨタ話もできねえ。サンキューサンキュー。グッバイ。
Goodbye. Rudolph hang up the phone. The executives sitting in the reception seats seem to have guessed at the contents of that discussion.
聞こえたか野郎ども。
野郎ども。
まあそうじるとだ。金さえ積みや堪忍してやるぜってわけだ。あとは金の高だけを争点にすりゃいい。
しかし社長、渡辺氏の示した和解金の想定額はあまりにも膨大です。それだけの余裕はありません。
こんなことになるって分かってたら多角化なんて始めんじゃなかったぜ。
3年しのげれば資金的危機は脱出できる計算でした。まさかここで刺されるなんて本当についてない。
ホップステップジャンプのステップでこけちまったんだもんな。泣けるぜ。
メインバンクから金を引っ張るしかありません。
銀行はまずいな。連中は勝ち馬にしか金を出さん。景気は上向いてるが銀行に弱みは見せられねえ。
社長、母外に資金はありますか？我々の把握していない資金です。
よせやい。俺がそういう男に見えるかよ。
Yes, you look like that kind of man. Yes.
俺の財布の中身は全てお前らにさらしてるぜ。そこにある帳簿が我が社の全てだ。
なら金策が必要です。数百万ドル単位を引っ張れるスポンサーが大至急必要です。
But how much money do they need though? I mean, yeah, when they were talking with Kraus in episode 1, they needed a lot of money, right? I think it was like 250 million each or something like that. But yeah, it was a lot of money. 750 million all in all, right? I think it was for all of them. So that's a lot. A lot.
社長の交友関係でなんとかなりませんでしょうか。
社長ああ、落ち着けてめえら。金策は俺が何とかする。お前らはガタガタせずに業務を維持しろ。金さえ積めば向こうは許すと言ってるんだ。すでに俺たちはアジアに太いパイプを持ってる。いろいろ響くだろうが取引は維持できる。要は金さえ積めりゃ全て解決できる問題なんだ。見てろ、俺が全て解決する。お前らを路頭に迷わせなんかしねえぞ。大船に乗った気でいろい。無事に解決したらお前ら全員をシャンパンタワーでねぎらってやるぜ。約束する。だから黙って俺についてこい。いいな。
He needs a lot of money, but he's willing to reward everyone with the champagne tower. Isn't that super expensive? The airplane suddenly shook, probably due to the turbulence. Rudolph was jostled awake. He'd woken early that morning and ended up drifting off to sleep while resting in his seat.
大丈夫？まだだいぶ眠いんじゃないの？このところだいぶ仕事が忙しかったようだし。
仕事が忙しいなんて大いに結構じゃねえか。俺が暇になっちまったら俺たち明日から路頭に迷うぜ。
そうね。バトラ君も帰ってきたんだから
二人で物乞いすればいいって問題じゃないわよ。
そうだな。6年ぶりに家族が揃ったんだからな。家族水入らずで過ごせるよう課長が頑張らねえとな。
When he looked out of the window, he saw that the airplane had already started to drop in altitude considerably. The fishing boats, which had only looked like black grains a short while ago, were starting to become clearly recognizable.
親父に土下座してげんこつ一発で1000万借りられるなら1ダースくらいもらっときてえところなんだがな。さもなきゃとっととお隠れになってくれりゃいいんだが。散々すねをかじって今度は遺産目当てか。俺は地獄行きだな。そりゃこんな俺に親父も会いたくはないだろうよ。
Okay, who's next? We've seen Rosa, we've seen Rudolph, Jessica.
まさか今年も親族会議にお出にならないつもりですかな。
Nanjo looked at Kinzo's face, sighing. Kinzo's eyes remained rooted to a strange book on magic.
ハゲタカどもの議論に加わるつもりはない。好きに我が骨のしゃぶり方でも議論するがよかろう。実にくだらぬ。
やれやれ。困ったものですな。
Nanjo shook his head slightly. To him, children and grandchildren were lovely things. He believed that watching them grow was the only way to truly enjoy old age. So Kinzo's words were very saddening to Nanjo.
この部屋を出るべき時が来れば私は姿を現す。あれが姿を未だ現さぬようにな。
When Kinzo raised his face, his gaze pointed at the portrait of the witch, which was respectfully displayed on the wall. Kinzo's mind didn't dwell for a moment on the fact that today was a family conference where all of his beloved relatives would gather. It was filled only by the face of the witch in the oil painting, who never smiled except inside the portrait. Everybody knew that interrupting Kinzo when he talked about Beatrice would trigger his wrath.
私は今日ある儀式を執り行う。
それは何ですかな。
儀式というよりは博打に近い。なぜならリスクを負わぬ魔法に奇跡は宿らぬからだ。
Nanjo had heard Kinzo say this many times before. He might even call it a pet phrase of Kinzo's. Kinzo apparently believed that magic and miracles could occur if you gambled your own fate with a certain amount of risk and triumph.
かつて黄金のギャンブラーと言われた金蔵さんが、いつお迎えが来てもおかしくないそのご老体で、一体どんな博打に挑みますやら。これは見ものですな。
なるほど。研究を尽くした秘術の儀式も魔法に長けぬお前にかかれば博打呼ばわりか。まあいい。奇跡を信じる私が勝てば、お前の目には水鏡にしか見えなかったであろう我が研究のすべてがこの日に結実したことをはっきりと理解できるだろう。お前が勝てば見たままの通りいつ迎えが来てもおかしくない年寄りの水鏡に終わるだけだ。
一体どんなギャンブルを始めるやら。あなたの友人としてその賭けに
いや、儀式でしたか。その儀式にあなたが勝てるよう心からお祈りするだけです。
感謝する。
そういえば金蔵さん、今年の親族会議には懐かしい客がおられるそうですな。
何？
For once, Kinzo reacted to Nanjo's words and turned around.
ほら、ルドルフさんのところのバトラ君です。
It's Butler though. He thought it was gonna be Beatrice.
6年ぶりにおいでになるそうじゃありませんか。
And he's gonna be like, who cares?
きっと立派になっていますよ。
なんだ、バトラか。6年ぶり程度の客人など懐かしいなどと呼びはせぬ。
I wouldn't call him longed for. After hearing Butler's name and making a disappointed and ill-humored expression, Kinzo turned his back again. Yeah, he thought it was gonna be Beatrice.
金蔵さんにとっての6年など、この部屋で研究に没頭すればあっという間のことでしょうからな。
本当に懐かしい客はあるいは訪れるかもしれん。すべてはルーレットの出目次第だ。すでにルーレットは回り始めている。ルージュかノワールか。今宵ルーレットがどんな奇跡を見せてくれるのか楽しませてもらおうではないか。配当は大きいぞ。そして負ける気はせぬ。ベアトリーチェよ、我が賭けを受けるがいい。
At the time, the telephone on the table rang. The piercing sound seemed to irritate Kinzo, and he picked up the receiver to preserve the silence as much as he could.
何事か。私は忙しい。
現時でございます。
He's gonna say, the guests have arrived.
親族の皆様方が到着なされました。
There we go.
だからどうしたというのだ。適当に茶でも出せばよい。
かしこまりました。そのようにいたします。
I mean, yeah, he doesn't really care, man. Kinzo hung up the phone rudely, looking at that Nanjo side again, and shifted his attention outside the window. And he is now, or as he is now, I thought Kinzo would pay any heed to any sort of guest. Could any guest possibly make Kinzo come out when the time comes, as he said? Only one, and that guest is right there in the portrait, right? You see that portrait? Yeah, that's the only guest Kinzo would go out for. Kinzo had a single person in mind, but that was a guest who certainly wouldn't appear. Or will she? Nanjo stared at the witch of the portrait with her impassive expression, unable to decide whether she was smiling or sad, and then he gazed up at the lead-colored sky. Wow, we're back at the tea party area. So are all the pieces in place? Shall we line them all up again and start a new game?
何か問題は?
ねえよ.
Oh, wait, what? No, I mean, so this is episode 1 Butler, I guess, right? Oh, okay, let's continue first. The witch looked at him challengingly while elegantly smoking her pipe. And Butler? He just rudely shrugged his shoulders as if he didn't care what she did. He didn't meet her eyes. But that didn't mean he didn't intend to challenge her. It showed his clear determination to never be taken in this and by this bastard's tricks. It was an expression of his determination to fight.
まさか無策ではあるまいな。
お前の出方がわからねえ以上、策も何もねえぜ。好きに先手を取ればいいじゃねえか。
もちろんそうさせていただくぞ。 お前の守りをいかに崩すか、何手で詰めるか、わらわの腕の見せ所よ。
お前がどんな手で来ようが俺はお前を信じない。その一点を俺が貫き通す限り俺に負けはないってことはだ、このゲームはお前に勝てないようにできてるぜ。
そうかもしれぬ。しかしな、ゲームを何度繰り返すかはわらわが決めるぞ。そしてわらわが勝ち、そなたが負けを認めるまで何度でも繰り返されるぞ。つまりこれは災難よ。そなたがわらわに屈服するまで続く永遠の災難。そなたがわらわを魔女の存在を認めるまで永遠に続く。
なら俺もお前が根負けするまで何度でも無限に付き合ってやるぜ。意地の張り合いってやつでは負けた例がねえんだ。
どこぞの魔女にでも入れ知恵されたか？まあよい。
コタクは聞き飽きたぜ。さあおっ始めやがれ。
さあ始めようではないか。そなたの指し手はすでに知り尽くしておる。手の内を知られた守りなどたかが知れておる。同じ手でしのぎきれると思うでないぞ。
ベアトリーチェ、一つだけ最初に言っておくことがある。
なんだ。
お前が何をのたまおうと自由だ。だが俺が信じるかどうかは常に俺が自分で決める。貴様の魔法がどれほどのものだったとしても俺の魂は屈しない。これは俺への拷問だと？違うね。
ならば何だというのか。
これはお前への拷問なのさ。お前がいつ俺に屈し諦めるか、それまで繰り返される拷問なのさ。
面白いかなその例えや。よし、互いを苛み合う拷問とは実に面白い。さーて始めようではないか。後ろ宮バトラ
ー! Here we go. It finally begins, I guess. But yeah, I'm kind of shocked to see that scene, though. Yeah. What was that? Like, well, no, why is that scene? Why is it? I thought, like they would go. Or I mean, at the ending of the episode, right? We would get tea parties, but yeah, they showed it. They showed them, both of them here. Those are episode 1 Butler, right? And then yeah, Beatrice. So they're talking about, I mean, I guess they're watching what is happening, or yeah, they're playing it, right? Like every piece is getting into place right now, right? And then, yeah, it's interesting. It's very, very interesting. How are they gonna play this? Like, do they control which character does this? Does that? Is that it? I mean, it's a game, right? So we're gonna be seeing like different games starting from this episode, I guess. So game here, game the next episode game. Is that it? And yeah, they'll be fighting until the end, right? Okay, I'm interested, very, very interested to see how this works. I mean, right? We'll just find out as we go through the story. But yeah, we see the Beatrice here, at least in, let's say in this, how do I say this then, right? We see Butler and Beatrice in the Tea Party world, right? So let's say that's another world, for example. And then there's a world here where a story is happening. That's another world, right? But we see Butler and Beatrice still here, right? There's a counterpart, I mean, to their characters, right? So what happens? How does that work? Right? I guess you cannot really can they interfere, for example? Like, for example, can Butler interfere with this character in this world, right? I mean, yeah, they say we are gonna play a game and let's start. Okay, I guess I'll not make it any longer because, yeah, no matter what I say here, I'm not gonna get any answers, right? Because, yeah, only as we go through the story we will learn how it works. But I guess let's see this. I mean, we don't really get anything here. How about the tips? Grimoire? We don't really get anything. Okay, so it's gonna be very, very interesting to see how this works with Beatrice and Butler, right? Let's find out. Let's find out. But yeah, we did get a lot of scenes already. Not a lot, but their own scenes, I guess. We got Rosa's scenes earlier in the beginning, right? Even though it was, yeah, pretty unsettling, her and Maria there. We got Rudolph's scenes as well. A couple minutes back. Jessica, Butler, and then, yeah, the tea party area scenes with, how do I say the other Butler and other Beatrice. Yeah, I guess I mean, those scenes were good, but it is gonna be very, very fun, right? This is gonna be nice. Well, let's see how it happens. And the special guest that Genji was mentioning, is it actually gonna be Beatrice? Is she gonna show herself to everyone, right? I mean, Genji said important guest, right? Okay, but yeah, if she actually shows herself like that, that is a game changer though, right? Like in episode 1, Butler didn't believe in, I guess, in witches because, yeah, she didn't really show herself, right? In episode 1. I guess until the end, she was just laughing there, that scene there, right? Like, she didn't fully show herself, and then after the end scene, yeah, it was just done, right? So it's gonna be different here if she actually shows herself to everyone. That's a big game changer, I guess, right? For Beatrice, right? We'll see. Okay. So anyways, we are gonna continue this and do more of Umineko When They Cry, episode 2, in the next one. So I'll just see you then, guys. Bye bye.